Hi, I would like to share with you the scripture is from 2 Peter chapter 2, starting with verse 4. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world the ungodly, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, for that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. Lord knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished, but chiefly them that walk after the flesh, in lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed, they are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Now, in those scriptures right there, I want to point out one thing that it does says that speaks of Lot as being a righteous man. I mean, and like we'd like to know how righteous was Lot. I mean, Second Peter declares him as righteous. But but it, are his actions righteous? We hear in Second Peter that his righteous soul was tormented day by day by seeing and hearing their lawless deeds, the people of Sodom. And I would like I would like to share with you something from the apocryphal book of Jasher, chap, chapter from chapter 19, speaking of how evil the people in how people that how evil the people in Sodom were. And the cities of Sodom had four judges for the four cities, and these were their names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Sharkad and Gomorrah, Zabnak and Admah, and Menon and Zeboim. And Abraham's servant Eliezer applied different names to them, and he converted Sirach to Shakra, Sharkad to Shakrua, Zebnak to Kezobim, and Menon to Matzlodin. And by desire of their four judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities, and if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in them. And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if the man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gates of death. And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, thus it will be done to the man who comes into our land. And when the men heard all these things that the people of the cities of Sodom did, they refrained from coming there. When a poor man came into their land, they would give him silver and gold, and cause a proclamation in the whole city to not give him a morsel of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given to him. And those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back, and at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them, and he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. After that they would carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the deserts. So he did all the days to anyone that came to them and died in their land. That's that's what it says in the apocryphal book of, or the rather pseudepigraphical book of Jasher. Just it's not inspired scripture, but it I mean it's it it I mean it report purportedly reports what was what was going on in Sodom during the days that Lot was there, and just, I mean, of course, we hear in Ezekiel, that book of Ezekiel, that men of Sodom were they they had pride, they had fullness of food, they had abundance of idleness, and they didn't strengthen the hand of the poor and needy, and they were haughty, and they committed abomination before his people. And of course, in the book of Genesis, we hear that Lot, he took in two strangers that came to land. They were actually angels, but he didn't know that they were angels at first. So he took them under a roof. He fed them, gave them a place to rest, and of course the men of Sodom came around his door, and they were pounding on the door and saying, "Where are the men that you brought in this night? Bring them out here so that we may know them." I mean, and Lot stepped out of his door, and he said, "Oh men, please don't do so wickedly to these two men. I mean, here, I'll give you my two daughters. They're virgins. They have never known a man. You can do what you want with them, but please don't do anything to these two visitors, because it's part of the reason they came under my roof." I mean, Lot showed care for his two strangers, and he put them up for the night. He cared for them. He fed them. He also protected them from the men of Sodom who wanted to have sex with them. And I mean, he stood up for what was right, even in the face of what the men of Sodom were doing. I mean, these men who would do wickedness. If we were to take what the book of Joshua had to say about it as the truth, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a tale that's been passed on through the generations about what the men of Sodom did to every stranger that came in to came in within their gates, and just I mean, where to treat strangers with utmost care. I mean, Book of Hebrews says, "Don't forget to entertain strangers," because you be entertaining angels without knowing it, and because who knows, that stranger you put up for the night, that may be an angel, and he's probably sent there to see how you're doing as a Christian, who as one who's going to inherit salvation. So while we don't necessarily see Lot offering the men of Sodom his two daughters as anything being close to being righteous, I mean, in fact, he was endangering his two daughters for the sake of keeping the two strangers safe under his roof. I mean, Bible still declares him as being righteous in that regard, of caring for the strangers, and that his righteous soul was vexed day and night by seeing and hearing their lawless deeds. I mean, don't our souls feel vexed day and night by seeing, hearing lawless deeds of people of this time? I mean, and not just talking about sexual sin, but all sorts of sin. I mean, we're seeing people going to hell in a handbasket, and just and we're also seeing that amongst those who call themselves Christians. I mean, there's just no fear of God left in this world, and I wouldn't be surprised if God sends judgment on this world. I mean, because Scripture says judgment begins first at the house of God, and if it begins with us, what will be the outcome of those who don't obey the gospel of God? And if the righteous man is hardly saved, where will the ungodly and the sinner appear? And that's pretty much all I have to share with you in this video. So, have a good day, and may God bless you.